Now I've taken a fresh copy of this data over here and I want this to print in a particular format. Let me see how does this look like when we try to print. I click on File menu. I click on Print. Okay, so we have serial number, name. Let me zoom this slightly. We don't have an option to zoom over here, but nevertheless, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns that are visible here. And there are 2 pages. So 3 more columns on the right. Okay. Now I don't want that to be visible in 2 different pages. I want them to be visible in just 1 page. So I have an option here. I can select, instead of portrait orientation, I might select landscape and see. We have this here, but still there is something missing. There's something going on to page 2. So we have percentage of total annual salary spilling over to second page. I do not want that to happen. How do I do that? There are multiple options there. Okay. First thing over here, print active sheet. You have print active sheet. You can also have another option of print selection. Okay, it will only print those areas which are selected. For example, if you see there is a total over here, the number. Now let's say I select the entire table, but I do not select this number. And now if I click on print, and instead of print active sheet, I click on print selection, you see that total disappeared. But this is still spilling over to the next column, next page. How do we do that? Well, mostly we would try to shrink this as much possible. That is, I would want to select the columns, all of them, double tap on their edges and see how much can we shrink them. And yes, if it is coming within the range, nothing like it. Let's say now I click on print, and yes, it is coming within 1 page. Now let's say I do not have the option to shrink this, or I have even more columns to print, but I want all of them to appear in just 1 page. So in that case, I would just select the cells that I need to print, click on print, print selection. Now here, scaling, no scaling. I can click here and select fit all columns on 1 page. The moment I click on fit all columns on 1 page, it will shrink. The font size might shrink, the table size, the text would appear smaller, but you have all the columns, everything on 1 page. Well, this is one option. Alternatively, in case if you find the margins are quite wide enough, you can also go to normal margins here and you can select narrow margins. That's it. In case if you want to further reduce the margins, you can click on custom margins and select the margin that you need. You can reduce the left and right, top and bottom. And here, if I click on center on page, vertical alignment, just keep a watch on this, how this looks like. The table, the grid that you see in this preview format here is on the extreme top left. If I click horizontal, the grid is on the center. Now if I click on vertical, it comes down, so it is on the center, exact center vertically as well. And if I click OK, you see it has come down and on the center. It's the way how you want to organize. Normally for my data, I do not go for vertical arrangement. I just look for horizontal arrangement at times to maintain uniformity at the heading side. But that's your choice there. So similarly, let's say you have too many rows, but you want all of them to appear in 1 page to best possible. So you also have fit all rows on 1 page. In this case, we do not have that dilemma because we are short of columns to be fitting in 1 page, but not rows. And there is another one as fit sheet on 1 page. That still does the job as well. So at times, one of these may or may not help. You need to keep on switching between them to see which one helps you get the best result. Maybe now if I go for portrait orientation, you see how small it looks like because I did fit sheet on 1 page or fit all columns on 1 page. It does that job. What if I do no scaling? Well, I did not do any scaling. And then we have few columns on the next page. I don't want that. Well, this is one way of looking at it as a preview. There is alternate way of checking out or previewing whatever you want to print. That is by clicking on this. You have the grid format, that's a normal format. Next to it, you have page layout. If I were to click on page layout, you can see some scale over here, and I click top. In this page layout, I have the option to add headers too. Let's say this is for my company, and I enter company name. And if there is some logo that I need to add, do I have any logo over here? Well, none over here. I don't see any logo. But in case if you have any logo, you can add over here as well. And if you scroll down at the bottom of this page, you have the footers. Here, add footer. When you come to this footer section or the header section, you have this new menu that comes up as headers and footers. Click on this and you have the option of setting page number, either in this page 1 as a format, or you can also click here and select footer page 1 of 2. So it's split into 2 pages, and that's the reason you see page 1 of 2. Well, in case if you do not want it at the center, just wipe this out, clear this out, click on the right column. There are 3 sections. Click on the rightmost section and go to headers and footers and click page number or total number of pages. Everywhere you see that, but that does not make sense. Just click on page number and that's it. Good. You want more customization, you have footer and a lot many things to be done here, but I recommend this page 1 of 2. And here on the next you have page 2 of 2. And you see the header is still there, company name. And the company name, I can make it look bold, bigger, 24 or maybe 22. Make it bold, make it look a bit jazzier. How about this font? We have some more fonts like this. This looks classic. And it's replicated across. So we have the headers as well and footers. This is possible when you go into page layout option. Now, take a look at this print preview. Print preview. Now here we had done print selection only, so I'll just change this to print active sheets. And we have this. Now I want this to be in a landscape orientation. And yes, everything in one page, and this looks better, quite good. This is one good way of printing it, wherein you can also set up your headers and footers as well in this page layout. If I were to zoom this out and just take a quick look, it looks exactly how the page will look like when you print. That's the format that it shows. And then we also have another one as page break view. Now here the rest of the cells are grayed out. It only shows the content that you have, and it shows this entire thing. The one within this blue borders is what is page 1. If you have more data, let me just copy this and paste it further just for your reference. You see, let me expand this. Although there are div0 errors, ignore this for now. But yes, it shows page 3. Technically, if you see this 2049, that's spilling over to page 2. And that's the reason. If I were to delete this, well, we have this. Page 1 and page 2. Ignore the errors because I've just deleted that formula over there and hence the result. And let me undo this again. I don't want this to be visible. It's just one sweet good page that I'm printing. So this is another view. And now we want to go back to the initial view of grid. So we can click here as normal and we are back to what it was earlier. Great. Now before you print, you have so many options to look at and ensure that your paper or your page looks well organized before you print.